Liberals, activists, progressives, you were warned repeatedly, but you don't listen. You never do, because that's not what you do. You stand in your ivory towers and you talk down to us and little insignificant peons who haven't embraced your demented logic and ridiculous ideologies. And if we don't capitulate to your leftist extremes, then we're figuratively and sometimes literally spit on, cast aside as nonconformist. For a while, you were able to get away with this because we dismissed you for lunatics, and that you actually truly are. But sure, it was annoying to listen to your constant whining, but it became nothing more than white noise for us. But before long, a shift occurred. You kept tapping into our well of tolerance and patience, thinking it was somehow this never-ending reservoir. You kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and gradually our tolerance began to disintegrate. And it was replaced by anger, outrage. All along, you've labeled angry parents and anyone who disagrees with you as a threat to democracy. Parents who simply want to protect their children and have some say over how their children are raised and educated. But let me enlighten you, libs, and pay close attention here. I only say this once. The angry parents aren't the threats. They're the people who make those parents angry. They're the real threat. And who are these people? Government officials who weaponized the pandemic by putting masks over our faces that didn't work and declared it a vital health protocol, who mandated getting jabs so that Big Pharma could boost their bottom line, and who locked us down like criminals and made us prisoners in our own homes. Let me explain in like a very basic human concept to you liberals out there. If you keep pushing and keep inciting and keep getting in our faces, at some point, I'm not advocating for it, but the dam will break. And that's the point of no return. That's our threat assessment. Joining me now, Andy Ngo, senior editor at the Post Millennial and author of the New York Times bestselling book, Unmasked. Andy, you have covered these protests nationwide for as long as I have followed you on social media, and you've done a phenomenal job at it. Talk to me about the breaking point and how you've seen it get shorter and shorter and shorter over the years.
I think in the last couple of weeks, one significant development is now we're seeing, not just in the United States, but also Canada, immigrant families now really being at the forefront of organizing against what they say is sexual propaganda within the elementary schools or primary schools for their children. For the last 2 weeks in LA County.
I think we lost Andy Ngo there. We'll get him back in a sec. But for those of you who don't know Andy Ngo, he has covered this extensively, especially in the Seattle riots down to the BLM and Antifa. He was there. Andy, it looks like we got you back. I'm sorry about that, but you were just saying.
Well, yeah, for the llast 2 weeks, we've seen Armenian American families in LA organize against LA Unified School District and also in Glendale. Today in Ottawa, Canada, there were Muslim families that were protesting. And I think for probably a lot of apolitical families, which a lot of immigrant families are not really that politically involved. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to things that they view as a red line, I think family and children is that issue for them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, parents will jump in front of a bullet for their kids. But you tweeted out about that brawl outside of California with the Armenian families this week. You said Antifa member Eric Boyd, who was involved in the brawl, has a prior arrest related to a felony, child sex crimes, and assault with a deadly weapon. You said it's honestly sickening to watch. These people, are they being, choreographed and bussed into these things to incite these things? Because it appears like the parents were there to peacefully protest, make their voices heard, and these other agitators, let's say, like the guy you tweeted about, were there in riot gear.
So SoCal Antifa put out a call to protest, they say, against the Armenian American families. And any time that you have an Antifa cell putting out a dog whistle for the comrades to come in numbers, that means a call to violence, which is exactly what happened. You had people dressed up in riot gear and wearing helmets. Why would you need to be dressed up for battle outside of a protest of a school board? You don't, unless you're prepared for violence. Right. And this particular suspect who was arrested, has a criminal history that is that I reported about. Yeah,
but when we see this, is there a point of no return that I fear we're reaching quicker and quicker? Or is there a way to somehow, from all your experience in these protests, to somehow neutralize this and bring the temperature back down?
it's of my view that I think the average American family doesn't really have sort of I don't know if maybe the word's bloodlust for like battle when it comes to politics.
Thankfully, yes.
But thankfully, yes. But however, there are a lot of immigrant families who do come from societies where disagreement is settled through potentially conflict and such, and they may be much less willing to sort of just sit back and be steamrolled over.
Yeah.
So, it's maybe with those communities that you're gonna see a point of no return be crossed.
Oh, Andy, I appreciate you going in and covering these protests because a lot of us wouldn't see these stories if it weren't for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up.